Hello and welcome to another video, and welcome to the recap for the Thomas Hardy read-along Book 6, The Return of the Native. I said in my last video, I'm not actually sure when I'm going to post these two. I might even post them together, in which case you can just watch one back to front? No, you can watch back to back, that's the phrase. But this is the video for Return of the Native, and I'm posting it right after I have posted the one for The Hand of Ethelbert, which was book 5. If you have no idea what's going on, we're reading Thomas Hardy's books in publication order, one a month for 14 months. And every time we read a book, I just do a little recap of what everyone else's reading experiences have been. And this is just my recap of what I think people experienced when we were reading The Return of the Native back in November. I think with Hardy's books we have kind of different categories. We have the very well-known novels, and then the kind of less well-known to never heard of it novels. And I think there are kind of some that are sort of somewhere in between that most people have kind of heard of, but they're not as famous as, you know, Tess and Jude, the really biggies. But I think that when you read them in publication order, you do have a kind of flip in between not well known, oh I know this one, this is quite well known, and then we're back again. I think The Hand of Ethelbert, our last book, was probably less well known, and now we're back again to the ones that lots of people know. The Return of the Native is a very well known novel. And I think one of the reasons for that is because Hardy is very well known for his nature writing, and I think that The Return of the Native has this in abundance. So much so that I think the Heath, where The Return of the Native is set, is actually another character in the novel itself. I know that Hardy's nature writing isn't for everyone. Most people agreed that they really liked that aspect of the book. There's a comment that Larry posted on Discord, which I just want to read out in full actually, because I really agree with it, and I just think it's a perfect summary of the nature writing within this book. Return of the Native is a great example of how we get so much more than a story. Here, Hardy spends the first part describing the landscape. This moves into describing the people and culture of the area. During all of this, there is no plot. Yes, Ven and Thomasin, two of our characters, are seen, but we're not even told their names. Hardy waits to start the story when Mrs. Yeobright is introduced. This allows him to remain very poetic in his prose during the first 50 to 60 pages of the book. I think that is just a perfect summary, because there's so much of the book that actually we just don't get any plot and we don't get any characters. It's just about the landscape, it's just about the area, it's just about the heath. And I wonder if perhaps this is the book where people really started to notice that Hardy works best when he's describing the landscape, and his writing is absolutely beautiful. And it's one of the reasons why I love Hardy. So this book, well, spoilers, jumps to the top of my list. For a lot of people, the characters in The Return of the Native were also some of Hardy's best. I really like the comment that Sten said, which was, I don't think Hardy was concerned with whether we like the characters or not. I think he wanted us to try to understand them and see them in a dynamic relationship with each other. And I think that's so true, because there was lots of discussion, as there always is with books, about whether we like characters or whether we're engaged with characters, whether we find that we like the characters, whether we don't like them or not. Do we find them engaging and interesting? Can we connect with them in some way? And I think that I think it's right that Hardy doesn't really seem concerned about whether we like these characters or not. He just wants us to understand who they are and to understand the things that they are going through. There were people who really liked the characters, but didn't really care for the romance plot. Although you like the people, you don't really care about what is going on. And I think that the interesting thing about reading in publication order is that there are lots of people who spotted for the first time that Hardy really likes a love triangle. He does it so often. And there were several people who said, please can we stop with the love triangles? Unfortunately, no. There will be many more love triangles to come in future books. But it was really noticeable, I think, by this book that we're getting it quite a lot. In terms of characters, for me, Diggory Ven has always been my favourite. Up to this point, he's my favourite Hardy character. I don't know if he'd be my favourite overall ever, but I love him so much. And I'm so glad that so many other people feel the same as I do. I think it's wonderful. I think for many people, this novel jumped to the top of their favourites. For some people, it's just below Far From the Madding Crowd, which remains a favourite amongst lots of people. Not everyone, there are some exceptions to that. For me, so far, of the novels we have read, it is my favourite Hardy novel. So if you read along with us, or you are just reading now, or you've read it before, do let me know your thoughts on The Return of the Native. I would love to hear from you, and I will be back soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching.